we need to democratize spiritual ideas and spiritual work, as we call it, to have it be accessible for all. We can all get messages from spirit. We can all get messages from the source. So we can all have dreams that we can interpret. It's possible. And the more that we're moving with that energy, the more positive we are about our experience, the more loving we are. And the more loving we are, the more peaceful we are, and the more creative we are, and the more positive we are.
Welcome back to another episode of What's Up Spiritually with TNT SpiritWorks. How you doing, Tom?
Great, Teresa. How are you?
I am doing great, and it's another month, and this is actually the last month of the spiritual new year, which I do want to talk a little bit about in this episode and share a little bit about the energy of August going into September, which happens every single year. So I want to share a little about that, and also share a little bit about the theme of the month and the theme of the energy of what we're kind of bringing forth in this episode. So no matter if you're listening to this episode 9 months, 2 years down the road, that this theme is going to be coming through the energy of what we're going to be sharing about today. And do you want to share what the theme and the keywords are, Tom?
Yes, for August 2023, the keyword is Majesty. And some of the synonyms for that are regal, power, sovereignty, greatness, and move.
Feels like a powerful month. Powerful energy.
Yeah, what strikes me about the word majesty is that when I'm in action, that's when my light shines. And that's when the full majesty of who I am and my life experience, can radiate.
Yeah, what just came to me is I had a friend pass earlier in the year, and she came to me in a dream, maybe a month or two after she was buried and stuff. And the energy, she came to me in a dream in her energy body. So it was just a light, and it was majestic. It was like the majesty of her energy. And it wasn't even her, it was just her energy, but I knew it was her essence. And it just like filled me up with this feeling of, like that majestic energy that we all carry within us. But oftentimes it's not till we get to the other side that we recognize of how big an energy we have within these shells of our physical, we like to call skin suits and moving around, but we just don't realize it and I didn't realize it until I actually experienced that in that dream. And I was like, oh, my God, she is an amazing soul.
Yeah. And, there's a lot of folks get very comfortable with their existence and lifestyle. And it's important that, we get involved in opportunities that challenge us once in a while. And, they don't have to be unsafe or crazy, although some folks love those kinds of challenges.
Right.
It's more not holding back. It's even if I make a mistake, I learn something, and then within that learning becomes that feeling of a $1 million learning experience, or it's worth $1 million, I often say. I don't know how else to describe that feeling of fulfillment that comes from being involved in life. And there's a lot of pressure not to be involved and to just follow along and not to make waves. And yet I don't believe that, in my view, you don't have to do something super big and save the world. I mean, there's going to be people who are going to rise to the occasion and lead, but it's more like, can I lead in my own little lifestyle? And the other topic I want to talk about is, I want to bring this up now, is that when I'm in action and when I'm moving and when my energy is flowing and I feel that enthusiasm from being involved, that's when I start echoing that out, from an energy point of view, and I start attracting more positive, experiences. But the more that I, keep my little light from shining, the poor little me kind of vibration, or I'm going to just hide, I call it false humility. There's a false humility. So in all things, I'm always looking for a balance between my true feelings and my intellect. and using my intellect just to organize what I'm truly feeling. So, there's times in society where I have to play the game, and, because in certain societies, it's really important to act humble. It's part of their shtick, I often say. But when it comes to the real me, I mean, there's greatness there. And so, I feel great. And when I feel great and I am great, but so are you. And it's, mountain to mountain, one great soul to another great soul. But the more that I work from that great energy, the more that inner majesty, what I've already brought with me from lifetimes, can flow. And I guess that's the big key for me. That's what it really means to me, is that if I'm being myself, I'm going to allow myself to be the greatness that I am. That's when my majesty flows, or that energy flows. And that's when I find myself more in the right place at the right time, involved in the things I want to be involved with, and that sort of thing. What do you have to say about that?
Well, I guess for myself, and looking back at that incident I had with my friend who passed on, and feeling the essence of her greatness, and which is within me too, like Tom was saying, like that echo, it really just made me recognize that, my God, I am also a big light like that. And so is every single other person on the planet. So even though you mentioned, like people that might want to stay small, or maybe have that victim, or that, poor little me, pity party thing, but even people like that go through those type of phases, and not to say I haven't, because I'm sure I have many times in my life, in my evolution, but spirit puts things in place for people to perhaps break out of it. And so that to me is a big thing. And when that time comes, and if you don't break out of it at that point, spirit might put another one in place down the road for you to go, wow, I'm ready now to step into this role, or I'm ready now to let go of the baggage and pick up some new bags and move forward in a different light. So I guess that's kind of what comes to me, is just the fact that the opportunities are immense here to really, to expand our soul essence, and to really step into that majesty energy that we all hold within us in different times in our lives. So, because, some people come in when they're younger, especially these days, these young souls, and they're like, oh, I'm here to do this. And they know what they're here to do. And they're like beaming, and they're, echoing out into the world, all this amazing stuff. And then many of us, it's midlife, it's later in life that, we find these opportunities to really go, okay, now I'm really ready to step into this new energy, or this new essence of myself, and this new, majestic opportunity for myself. So I think that's what's kind of coming to me, is just that, yeah, like my friend who came to me in the dream, like it really showed me who I am, and I felt it. And so those opportunities are priceless. Those opportunities are, and they come, and sometimes they might be subtle, or sometimes they might be like in that dream where I was like, I woke up and went, oh my gosh, that was her. And I felt it. And I'm filled with chills. I say it. It's just, so yeah, those times that things just kind of, present themselves for, for healing, and for stepping into, who you are as a soul.
Yeah, what I'd like to share about with Majesty as well is what occurs to me is that in society, we get a lot of mixed messages about that. On the one hand, growing up in the United States, everybody could become president someday.
Mm.
And on the other hand, when we're in certain social situations, we're supposed to be real humble and, self-effacing and that kind of thing. And I know in certain cultures or certain societies, that's even more important. But the true me, or the true soul that I am, is got more majesty to it than maybe I'm consciously aware of at times. We have to adopt a certain way of being and acting, to kind of get by in society. But this month looks like a month where I can really tune into the true power within me, that true greatness within me. And so what does that mean? It just means I can rise to the occasion. I can be a positive light in circumstances. I can be of service. I can do that with balance. Often in our society, we, again, with this mixed messages idea, we're in some sense, the religious, ideas that we're little worms and we're not worthy and that kind of thing. But from a spiritual perspective, we're unlimited beings. And I know in some ways, for many of you, that might sound like a theory. And I know even for me, it sounds a little bit like a theory because I'm so engrossed in this everyday life. But the more that I can tune into that inner light, that inner power, that inner greatness, the majesty of what I have to offer, the real me, the authentic me, the easier life gets, and the more of service I can be. So it's not about my ego. Ego is being out of balance, that I'm the only great one and there's no other great ones and I'm the greatest of the great ones. I'm not saying that's true. What I'm saying is I'm great, you're great, and let's find that greatness. Let's help bring out that light within you, and let's help me bring that light out within me so I can be more of me more of the time. Now, if we all did that, the world would be a better place. And that's really what we're looking towards.
Yeah. And I guess the thing that's popping into my mind as you talk about all that is also a real key is just showing up. And that looks like whatever it looks like for you. I mean, it can be someone who shows up to deliver the mail, or someone that shows up to, to help the elderly, or to, to bag groceries. I mean, it's just really being in the right place with whatever you're guided to do, and showing up in your majestic way. And so it doesn't have to be that you're like Tom was saying, you're going to be the president. But, when he said that, I thought, and I saw seeds like, I've told my kids this. I had one daughter that was, did gymnastics for like years and years. And I'm like, oh, maybe someday you could be in the Olympics. I'm like, looking back, oh, what that was I even thinking of saying that? But it's planting those seeds of inspiration that might help someone and help a soul go, you know what? Here, there's opportunity. Because we all have the opportunity. I'm sure many of you heard of some, Michael Jordan and Oprah Winfrey, and people that have made it, that came from certain situations that maybe weren't going to be, maybe weren't the best, and they were challenged. And there's many other people out there in the world too that have been challenged throughout their lifetime, but rose to become a powerhouse because of those seeds that were planted, maybe not from the people around them, but maybe from society, from someone saying to them, hey, there's more to life than just this, and you can do better, or, you could be the president, or you can be in the Olympics, or, so that's just kind of what comes to me, is just that really that inspiration to show up for whatever you've come to do in your own way.
Yeah. And the greatest inspiration for me is when I see others who are living their majesty, when they're living their greatness, and we all do. And, I think spiritually, it's just important that I allow myself, and we all allow ourselves to be that greatness. It's not just reserved for special people. And one of the topics that's coming to mind is that this idea that there's truth in all things, but not one thing has all the truth. And so, spiritually, there's concepts that we have that can replace our religious concepts, but there's nothing wrong. There's truth in religion. It's just, it gets out of balance once in a while. So rather than a way of worship, spiritual growth for me is a way of life. It's evolving myself. And you might say some of the goals that I've seen in the religions that I've been involved with in my lifetime are still truth in those goals, to be one with all, for love, to love each other, love yourself, help your friends, and, live in peace, and all those wonderful things, forgiveness. Those are some great spiritual ideas. But when it becomes a way of worship instead of a way of life, I'm starting to put it outside myself whenever it becomes a way of worship. So when I start trusting in the outer, that's when I'm going to get disappointed. So the key is to work with that inner majesty that I have within me, so that I can be that, shining light. Some of you, may say, well, but every once in a while I get scared to death. And, once in a while I don't do the things that I really thought I should do because fear moves in. And that's okay. Just forgive yourself and work on that fear, and start tuning into your inner wisdom, work with your guidance to, determine what your true feelings are about something, so that you don't feel so fearful. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that's some good advice,
That was a
Tom.
mouthful, wasn't it?
That was a mouthful. That was very, very insightful, dear. Yeah. So, really tuning into that energy and what it looks like for you, honestly, because, we're sitting here, and for myself, that part about being spiritual and that the spiritual part of me is just another part of me. It's like, I like to say, it's like the mind, body, spirit. It's just, I don't really have to even explain it. It's just a part of me.
Hmm.
And it's been a part of me my whole life. And having all these unique experiences, which a lot of I've shared in my book, the Soul Quake Survival Guide. I share quite a bit of the experiences in that book, and but it's just, I wasn't like seeking them out. I wasn't seeking out to hover over my dad's bed when he was passing. I didn't seek out to have a unique experience,
Hmm.
with souls out in the world when I was doing mediumship. So it's just a part of who we are. And so embracing that can really also help you step more into that majestic piece of who you are, which is the spiritual part of you.
Yeah, and bottom line is if I work with that inner greatness that I've got, that inner majesty, then I'm going to accomplish my spiritual mission. And it makes things better, not only for me, but for everybody else. So it's got to start with me first. It's got to be, what loyal to myself is just being loyal to what I've come to do and be in the right place at the right time, be involved in the things that I need to be involved with, and not involved in the things that are not going to help me grow and move through things. So there's nothing wrong with anything spiritually. There's spiritually, there is no greater than or lesser than. There's just more. Some of us have more experience than others, and vice versa. So I know that I can allow that inner majesty to flow when I get away from those ideas that it's reserved for special people. And, it strikes me, we all have an innate feeling for that. We all have an innate feeling for there is no greater than or lesser than, or, spiritually, we need to democratize spiritual ideas and spiritual work, as we call it, to have it be accessible for all. We can all get messages from spirit. We can all get messages from the source. So we can all have dreams that we can interpret. It's possible. And the more that we're moving with that energy, the more positive we are about our experience, the more loving we are. And the more loving we are, the more peaceful we are, and the more creative we are, and the more positive we are.
I
So,
love where you're going with this, Tom,
yeah.
because I really feel that, for one thing, is taking pressure off of the fact that I'm not like that person over there who's, who's psychic and who's, able to see auras and whatever. And the pressure that we all have as far as even in our society, right? Like, oh my gosh, I didn't go to college, so I'm not as good as that person, and they're making more money because I didn't do this or that. And same thing, it goes into spirituality too. And so knowing that wherever you're at in this journey for you is the perfect place. And it may even be, and this is a bigger picture perspective, but thinking about that, it may not even be this lifetime where you've really embraced a lot of your spiritual. It might be 2 or 3 lifetimes down the road. And same with other people around you. It's just really honoring where you're at, honoring the majestic aspect of what you've put together for yourself in this moment. Because it's amazing. I mean, really, it's, there's the ups and downs, there's the challenges and obstacles, and we have to have the polarity. We have to have both sides. We can't just have, it's not all rainbows and ribbons and unicorns. I'm just kind of being crazy here, but literally, I hope you all understand what I'm saying. It's like, it's not all happy go lucky here. We have to have the polarities of both ends, and that helps us really learn and grow, and helps us be more majestic in who we are as a soul and what we're here to really experience.
Yeah. And I think that from what I hear you saying is there can be no pressure. There's no pressure in it. There's no pressure in evolving spiritually. No one's lost. No one needs to be saved. We're all here on purpose, and we're all here to learn and grow.
Mm-hmm.
So some of us have been here a lot, and so we're growing. We've grown a little bit more, and some of us haven't been here very often, and so we're still learning some things. And the main thing is there's no pressure. When you feel pressure for something, or this adamant feeling about something, you're caught in more of a religious vibration. And one of the things that has occurred to me recently is as people have become more, we were talking about it the other day where we were saying, I noticed that folks have moved away from, religion, that's in all the statistics and all the surveys. And so then they look more towards the outer authority of the government, so they move from the outer authority of religion to the outer authority of the government. And there's not going to be any solace there. It's until I start to look within for my own answers and for my own wisdom and develop that wisdom within the system that I live in, then that's where I'm going to find that inner peace. So that's what I have to share. And
Well
it's all
said.
natural, whenever there's a pressure or an adamancy about something like, oh, kind of a feeling, then an impatience, you might describe it at, then you're not in your spiritual mode. You're more you have a concept around those things. So that's something I wanted to share. Did you have anything else you want to say about that?
Not really, but I do want to share a little bit about
Okay.
when this episode is coming out. It's coming out in August of 2023. So I want to share a little bit about and talk a little bit about the spiritual year and kind of what we work with in our beliefs and our actually even just our energy. So and no matter when you're listening to this down the road, it's just a good thing to kind of keep in mind that the end of August is what we consider the end of a spiritual new year, a spiritual year. And starting in September through August, end of August, is another like energy that kind of comes onto the planet that we work with. So we're at the end of a spiritual year. I don't know, like before I even knew this stuff, I really felt different. Like I don't know if you guys recognize that. Like in September, it feels like, whoa, it feels new. Feels fresh. And that's, in school, of course, that's when the kids go back to school. Things just kind of start, formulating and start kind of getting back in order from the summer and or the winter, depending upon what, if you're in the northern or southern hemisphere. But really starting that feeling and then understanding that there really is a shift of energy come the end of August into September and beyond. Do you want to share a little bit about that, Tom?
Well, yeah, that I felt that way as well. And in the southern hemisphere, spring's starting to arrive. So there's a change there. And in the northern hemisphere, it's fall. And every year, there's a theme to the year as well as the individual months. And we work with some calendars, which are available on our website, that help people actually outline what the energy is going to be for that month. And in fact, there's energies for the weeks. And the reason that it's great to know about this is that you can see the themes that Spirit's working with at that time. What am I here to learn, or what are some of the challenges I'm going to run across, and how can I kind of evolve beyond that or move beyond those challenges and replace those not so good thoughts or the pressure thoughts with a positive thought or more relaxed thought. And it takes a bit of some positive affirmations, that are suggested. And I found it's really effective.
Yeah, I have too, because of being very sensitive to what we would call like inbound energies from the actual universe into the planet, and how they really affect myself as well as what I'm going through and what I'm experiencing every day really has made such a big difference in myself. And so that's, I don't know, I just wanted to really share a little bit about the energy of what we're moving out of right now, which the theme of the overall year from the end of 2022 to August 2023 is called Elevation Innovation. So that's the overall theme of what we've been working with this past year. So it might be a good time to think about, how did that really come into play for me? So for myself, I birthed the book in June. I went through really an elevation of a lot of different things that I have been working on for a while, and taking it to like a new plateau, and also working with, a new spiritual leader. I'm a mentor down in Australia. So I've really, upped my game this year and elevated things to a certain degree. So for myself, it's been very spot on. And I've found that working and understanding these energies and the calendar that Tom vaguely mentioned, because we can tell you more about it another episode. But they've worked for me, and it's been a great tool that I've used for my spiritual toolbox.
Yeah, we call it La Familia Nuestra, which means our new family. And you can find that on our website. Just click the link, and it'll take you to another link where you can purchase it and so forth. What Spirit was reminding me of was that when that energy is around, when you know what the theme is, say Majesty. So this is in August. It's a really good time to be aware of that, and reflect on how can I allow my inner greatness to flourish, more. And, and you'll probably become aware of when you're not allowing your inner greatness to flourish as well either. But there's extra backing, and you'll gain extra insights if you work with those themes. And then you combine that with, keys that you get from your own spiritual helpers, and that, makes it even more powerful. So that's what that's all about. We're happy to share that with you. And there's not a lot else I want to say about it right now. Yeah,
just another tool for the toolbox. I just wanted to mention, just because of the fact that this is going to be released in the middle of August. So just wanted to share that. But
yeah, I think that, people often wonder why they keep having certain reoccurring experiences, like Curly in the Three Stooges say, a victim of circumstance, So quit being a victim of circumstance, and start becoming aware of how you can work with the wave of energy, of spiritual energy, to move yourself, further forward. I haven't found anything else like that service that we talk about, La Familia Nuestra. So our new family.
Yeah, which is on the calendar tab at TNTSpiritWorks.com. You can check it out there. But yeah, I haven't found anything like, and it's an amazing tool for myself to recognize just like what's going on every day and every month.
You studied a lot of astrology, and you're quite aware of all that.
Yeah, I have had quite a few different things, different avenues I've gone down this lifetime of, opening up, like probably many of you have who are listening to this podcast. So it's just another tool. But if you resonate with something, if you resonate with the energy that we've been talking about the last couple months, and want to find out more for yourself on how to explore a little more about the energy of of the months, of the weeks, and of the year ahead, you can check out our website.
Yeah, it's no secret. We're not trying to keep it from anybody. We're just here to share how we experience it. And by me sharing how I experience it, it probably will stimulate some of you to have ideas of how you've been experiencing it. And there's no right or wrong answer about it. It's just my perspective, the angle I'm coming in on it, because we're all here to do different things, and we're all here to be aware of, different things. Not anybody's, no one's got the unique experience you've got, and et cetera.
Absolutely. So thanks, Tom, for sharing with me this episode.
You're welcome, Teresa. I love it.
And wherever you're at, all over the world, we want to thank you so much for listening in to another episode of Enthusiastically Spiritual with Tom and Teresa with TNT SpiritWorks.
Up spiritually, right?
For what's up spiritually right now and what's going on. So yeah, we just love having these episodes, and just thank you so much, listeners and viewers out there all over the world. And so again, I'd like to invite you to please make sure you subscribe. Please make sure you like this episode and or this podcast. Make sure you also share it with your friends and family. Maybe there's someone out there that you may want to share it with that might get a little insight for themselves about something we shared on this episode.
Yeah. And write any comments. If you've been experiencing Majesty this month, and, you've become aware of a positive part of you, go ahead and share it with us. This is a place where you can do that in some of the comments below. Yeah.
We also have Pod Inbox, where you can share in Pod Inbox too, which is in the show notes. So you can check out that also.
Yeah. And Teresa or I will respond to you there. And we look forward to seeing what some of you folks have been going through.
Absolutely. So until next month, when we share again, just remember that life is too short to not be enthusiastic about your unique journey.